Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, very welcome, and I hope you'll enjoy my videos. This is our project for today. This is another instalment in my beginner card making kit course, card making for beginners. Another instalment. There's a kind of sensible order to these, but not entirely. But I posted last week a tour of the catalogue to get you to grips with that. And today I wanted to come back with a project. I will have another video very, very soon talking about the essential kit that you need if you're a beginner. But I just wanted to get on with the project today because I thought you were all out there desperately wanting to do some stamping. So this is our project today, and you need very, very few materials to make this. So I'm going to just show you what you're going to need. Now I have used our note cards. Our note cards and envelopes come in packs like these. There's 20 note cards and envelopes. This is the size in centimetres. They are about 9 by 12.5 centimetres. Lord knows what that is in inches. I think it's about 3 by 4, I think, roughly. I don't think it tells me. Oh yes, it does. 5 1/8 and by 3 5/8 inches. It even tells me. You get 20 of these in here, and they're made from our gorgeous Whisper White cardstock. And if you don't know about our Whisper White cardstock, it is the smoothest, gorgeousest card that you'll ever come across. It's a lovely white. I have a thing about whites. I don't like them when they've got a sort of a blue element to them. And this is a lovely sort of, not creamy, but just a lovely warm white, I think you'd call it. And they are so smooth, so it's really lovely to stamp on. And the envelopes as well are made from similar, so it's paper that this time, but similar to our cardstock, really nice and smooth, so your stamping will never look so good as when you stamp on this good quality card and paper. So that's the first thing you need, the note cards and envelopes. I think they're £6.50, and if I could find my list I could even tell you what page in the catalogue they're on. Give me a minute. I had a list a minute ago. What did I do with it? Oh no, maybe you'll have to look it up in the catalogue yourself. I don't know what I did with my list. I had it here. I was just using it. Oh, never mind. Right, so you need that. You then need a stamp set, and this is the stamp set. I think this is a great stamp set for beginners because it has some little images, which are the ones that I'm going to use today. This bigger image is a bit more tricky, but it's still very easy to use. But the little images, the flowers, the centres, the leaves, really, really useful. And then all these wonderful greetings. So in one stamp set, you get a lot of things in order to make lots of different cards, as long as you like flowers, of course. That you are quite limited to flowers, really. So that's a great stamp set for beginners. And again, if I had my list, I could tell you what page it was on, but I can't find my list at the minute. I don't know what I've done with it. I had it, honestly, I had it here a minute ago. I was just writing up a blog post with it. What have I done with it? Sorry. Just talk amongst yourselves for a sec while I see if I can. It's not on here. I don't know where I put it. It's just not on my desk. Oh, hey ho. Anyway, I'll put all the details on my blog post, which will be linked down below. So anyway, so that's the stamp set. So those are two things you need. A stamp set, your choice. I like this one, but you can choose a stamp set. And note cards and envelopes. I will be doing another video of talking about the different kinds of stamps and what's to look for when you're a beginner, because I think it's very important that you don't purchase in error. I mean, they're all lovely, our stamp sets, but there are some that are better than others for beginners. You need a block as well. Now, for beginners, I always recommend, if you're on a budget and you can't afford to spend too much, buying a D block, which is this one. Now, as you can see, for those images, this is quite big. Doesn't matter, you can use this perfectly well, but actually if you can afford it, I always think just buying a little A block, because all the images I'm using here are going to fit on this A block, and it is going to be much easier to stamp with this little A block. So this will work, that's fine, but it's because the stamp, let me show you, the stamp is going to go on. So I'm just going to take off one of these flower stamps. So these are photopolymer stamps, which means they're see-through. So that will go there. So I'm going to be stamping, and I'm just going to have a lot of block. Whereas this one, I can stamp, and there's not a lot of block left over. So this is a really useful block, because obviously, if you have this size block and you're only buying one, you can't then get bigger stamps on it. Whereas this one, you can get smaller stamps on, but on a big and the bigger ones. So, but it depends. This little A block is only, I think it's £3.75, so it's not a huge amount of money to spend just to get that. And there are lots of stamp sets that have little stamps in them that would be good for that. Right, I am going to mount that though. I don't know why I took that off, because I'm going to mount that. And these just cling to the block, so you just take them off, take them out of the packaging and stick them, and that's now stuck on there. That's not going anywhere. You can see it's slightly stained because I've used it before. That doesn't affect the quality at all. It's absolutely fine. And then of course the other thing that we need, and the last thing I think we need, is no, not quite the last thing, is some stamp sets. Now, some stamp pads. Now, I have used Gorgeous Grape on here. If I just reach over, this is my full-size Gorgeous Grape, which is obviously great. It's a really nice big stamp pad, but you can see my stamps. Now, the thing is, these are really great quality. They hardly ever run out. I can't tell you, I've hardly had to re-ink any of mine ever. But they're £7 each. So if you want a lot of colours, that's quite an investment. What Stampin' Up have introduced with this catalogue are stamping spots, which are great. So still same colours. You can't choose your colours. You have to have this pack, so you get these colours. But there is a good range of colours in here. And you get 8 colours for only £22. Now you can use them slightly differently to how you use the big pads. So if I was inking up my stamp on the big pad, what I would do is I would tap, 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 and I do mean pat. Don't squish it into the stamp pad too hard, because you'll get ink all around the edges of the block, which might then come out on your paper. So just tap, 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 and then you stamp. I'm just going to clean that off, and then I'm going to show you what I would do with the Stampin' Spots. So I would have my stamp up that way and do it the other way round. So I would do the stamp, bring the stamp pad to the stamp, like so, and then that would stamp. Let me find a scrap piece of paper. I haven't got any scrap card lying about at the minute. There. So that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So Stampin' Spots do the job and give you a chance to get more colours. We're going to use these Stampin' Spots today. I'm going to do a different colour scheme for this card. So I'm going to do my big flowers in turquoise. They're going to have pink middles. And I'm still going to use Granny Apple Green for the foliage, and they're going to have yellow. These little flowers are going to be in yellow. So I'm going to pop those ones back in there, not using the purple today. And because I'm a demo, I have enough blocks to mount all the stamps I need on individual blocks. Of course, you don't need that. You can swap it, so you can do all your stamping of this one, clean it off and put it back. Put the stamp back in the packet and then use another stamp. But because I have the luxury of having a whole range of stamp blocks, I can mount one on each block, and it just means my videos can be a bit quicker rather than you waiting for me each time to clean and remount. So those are the 3 stamps we're using. We're using one of these little flowers, it doesn't matter which one. One of these flowers, I'm using that one, but you could use that one. This little leaf, the tiniest leaf, and the centre for the flowers is what we're using. And so we are going to take one of our, just going to clean this off because I'm not using purple today. Oh, by the way, that you need a way of cleaning your stamps. Now, these are per photopolymer. You can just run them under cold water or warm, tepid water and clean them and just dry them. That would be fine. We do sell these. Now, a clean one looks like this. This is called Simple Chamois. And it's like I don't know, it's a special kind of foamy thing. And you just make sure it's moist, and it will clean your stamps perfectly. It does get a bit messy, it does look a bit of a mess, but it cleans them absolutely perfectly. And I keep mine in one of our stamp cases, which are also available to buy in the catalogue. And it's perfect way to clean your stamps. Doesn't need a lot of upkeep or anything. Right, so let's get started with our card. So this is the envelope from our note cards, and this is the note card. Now, the other thing that you will notice is it's got a score. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It's got a score line already, so you just need to fold. But actually, because this is our thick Whisper White, it does need a bit of pressing. Now, if you look, now I've pressed that quite hard and it's still popping up. So what I would suggest you do is turn it and do it the other way. That's better. I don't even need to turn it out the other way. There we go. And the paper's the same on either side, so it doesn't matter which side you do. And I'm using a bone folder here, which again is in the catalogue. Very good investment, although if you haven't got a bone folder, what I did before I had one was I just used to use the handle of my scissors. So I just used to run up and down like that. Just make sure you're not getting any marks on the cardstock from them, and make sure they're not the sort of plastic that's going to melt with friction, because sometimes you build up a bit of heat doing that. A bone folder, of course, is the best solution, and it costs, I don't know, £6.50. I think it's not a huge amount, but again, if you're on a budget, that might just push your budget out over the edge. Right, here's my card blank, my note card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big flower, I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to tap, 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 tap. So there is another way you can do this. I'll show you that next time. So there we go. Ink that up, and I'm going to put one fairly down in the corner here. Now you could do this because this is a small stamp. If it was a bigger stamp, you would have to do that because you want to get the coverage. But if it's a smaller stamp, you could actually do it the same way as the big one. That one might be easier actually. I think that's easier for this stamp. That is an easier way to do it. There isn't a right or a wrong way. There's a way that you prefer and a way that you get better results. So I'm just stamping these all over. Up to you how many you put. You don't have to do them exactly the same as me. It's a random placing, so you know you can do your yours where you like. I did 2 in the middle here, 1 there and 1 there to fill in those gaps, and then 1 more at the top here. So I've got sort of a corner swirl-ish there, and that's all my Coastal Cabana done. And I'm then going to come in with my flamingo, flirty flamingo, and I'm going to do the centres of these flowers. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap again, tap, tap, tap gently. You need to tap 2 or 3 times at least, and you can look at your stamp and see whether it looks like it's got a good coverage of ink, and go back if it hasn't. Because these are photopolymer, if you don't get a good image, you could possibly go back and go over it again, re-ink and go over it. You do need to be a bit careful, but they are clear, so you can do that. There we go. This pink looks very bright at the minute, but it will dry a bit lighter. There we go. So I've got blue flowers with pink centres. I'm then going to come in and do some leaves. So I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green. So all I'm doing, I'm just stamping all these at full strength. We'll have another video another day showing you how to get different shades of the same colour by stamping off. But for the moment, these are all just being on the ink pad and then onto the cardstock. Where else do we need a leaf? Maybe one up there. Just turn it round as you go. Take your time. And remember, if it does all go, and not that it is likely to all go wrong, but even if it does, it really is only a bit of cardboard and a bit of ink. You know, there isn't anything, you know, it's not, you know, nothing's going to happen. The world isn't going to come crashing down because you made a bit of a booby with your stamping. So just have fun with it. Another one there. Right, what do you think? Have I done enough? Do we need another one down there, do you think? Maybe. A few more leaves on this one than on that one, but that's okay. Well, that's looking quite pretty. And then we're just going to fill in all those little gaps in Daffodil Delight with that little tiny flower. So wherever you see a gap, stamp a little yellow flower. And this is really one of the simplest cards to make. Anyone could do this. If I was still having classes or coffee and cards or any in-person events, I would definitely be using this as a make and take. for people to do, because it would be really quick and easy to do, and you end up with a lovely card. There we go. Put some around here. So I'm just adding them till I think there's enough, really. There. So a slightly different layout to this one, but it's still fine. It's all fine. And then the last thing we're going to do is add a greeting. Now on this one I did thinking of you. I think on this one I'm going to do thank you. I like to mix it up a bit. I do need a lot of thank you messages for my cards. Whenever I send anything out to any of my customers or my team, I always put a card in, so I always have a need for lots of cards. And I'm just going to show you a little trick for mounting the greeting as well. Because these are photopolymer stamps, you can bend them. So if I wanted to, I could kind of bend this thank you and put it on the block, and it would go round. Can you see that? It would go round in a semicircle. But actually I want it straight today, and you have to be careful to make sure you get it. You don't twist it as you put it on. So what you can do is you can line it up. Don't want to get my hair on here. Sorry, there we go. Line it up on there, and then bring your block to it and line your block up. I'm lining it up with the grid paper. There, and then you get it straight on your block, and you know that it's not curved or anything. And I'm just going to come in with another stamp pad from our set. So we've used 5 of the 8 colours so far, and we are going to use basic grey to do our greeting. So like I said, if it's a big stamp, this is really the way to do it, much easier. And you can remove these lids if you want. I've left all mine intact, but if you find it easier to just have the stamp pad, you can remove this lid. This lid will come off completely. It's only stuck with a bit of the sticky label, so you can take it off. Right, and that is going to go. Trying to make sure it's straight. Sorry if you've got my head in view. There we go. So, there we go. Now, inside this one, I did some more stamping. I think I really overdid it a bit. I think there's a bit too much stamping in that one, and then I did a little bit on the envelope. So just to finish off, let's just do one flower inside. So we're going to come back with the Coastal Cabana and the flower, like so. And then, oh, let's do the one on the envelope as well. I love doing this because this makes it look really special. If you're giving this card to a friend, the fact that you've got stamping inside and stamping on the envelope, as soon as they get the envelope, they know there's going to be something special inside here. I think it's really lovely. And you don't always get that with a shop bought card. So again, the little centre in pink. Doesn't fill the centre in completely, you can see, but it's meant to do that. And you can see the kind of watercolour image you get. So these stamps aren't intended to be a completely flat image. They are intended to have this sort of shading on them. So don't worry if you see that. That is the complete intention. It's meant to look a bit watercoloured. So, and then the leaf is going to go one there and one there. And then the same on here, and then I'm just going to do a few little yellow flowers around, little Daffodil Delight flowers to finish off. And I hope you've enjoyed that project. I hope you will give it a go. Like I say, I think that this stamp set, Blossoms in Bloom, is a really good buy for beginners. I think because it's got all the sentiments in it, but also these lovely little images. There we go. There, that's all I'm going to do. Any more and it'll spoil it. There we go. So there we go. Very minimal supplies. And of course, although you've had to, you know, it's a bit of a layout to make these cards because you've got to buy the note cards, the stamp pads, the clear block. But of course, you've got most things left over. You've still got another 19 note cards and envelopes to use. And you've got all the ink pads, you've got the stamp set. So you've got potential to make loads and loads more cards. So there's a little bit of an initial outlay, but after that, you're set. And there we go. 2 beautiful cards. Very easy to make, and I hope you've enjoyed that project. Don't forget, anything that you want to buy that you'd like to purchase is available from my online shop. do pop over to my blog and find my monthly shopping code. Just a word, if you are a beginner, my monthly shopping code, you add it to your order where it says host code, just under the checkout bit, there's a little box that says host code. And that means what happens is the rewards, the volume rewards that Stampin' Up gives us, mount up for all the orders, which means I can then buy products that I can send each of you for free next month. So it's really worth doing. So please have a look for my code. Yeah, there'll be one for July on my blog at the moment. I can actually tell you what it is because I've got it here. It's ZJA4UFSN. ZJA4UFSN. So if you're interested to order, add that code and you'll get a free gift from me next month. Of course, all my customers do get a thank you package as well. If you're new and you're a beginner, you might not know that, but everyone who orders from me, I'm so grateful that helping to keep my little business going, that I send you a thank you package the month after you've ordered, in which will be a handmade card, a little handmade gift of some sort, so something packaged nicely with handmade packaging, and just a chatty letter as well. But if, like I say, if you've used my code, you'll also get a free product gift. Sometimes it's a stamp set if we've had a really good month. They're quite rare that we get stamp sets because I don't really get that good orders, but we've had embossing folders, we've had DSP, we've had blends pens, we've had all sorts of things, so and all for free, so that's a really nice little bonus. Anyway, that's it from me today. Have a good day. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video, and I hope you'll come back soon to see me. Don't forget to click the bell to subscribe, and then click the bell and you'll get a notification every time I post. And all of these beginner videos will be in a playlist on my YouTube channel called Card Making for Beginners 2020. So look there and they should all be under there and you can see them easily. Thanks very much. That really is it from me today. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.